A long post about China and energy security and buffers and strategic reserves. Energy security has been a feature in Chinese economic planning for decades, of course, but until the early 2010s, it was mostly framed in FYPs and other high-level documents as a question of adequacy, i.e., we must secure enough energy supplies to ensure no barriers or drags on industrialization. The early Xi era was the inflection point, in my view. Beginning around 2014, Chinese leaders began reframing energy security as a multidimensional strategic concept that included supply, sufficiency, technological advancements, geopolitics, and energy transition risks. For example, check out Xi's June 2014 speech to the Central Financial Work Leading Group on China's energy security strategy, linked at the end. This was relatively fresh for China at the time way of discussing Chinese energy strategy. In the next FYP, 13th from 2016 to 2020, 5-year plan, energy security starts to be framed more as a system reliability issue, not just a standard industrial capacity issue. It starts talking about diversification of supply and climate and efficiency goals, and power market reforms is partially presented as an energy security tool. This may have also been politically expedient way to promote unpopular reforms, at least for the SOEs, but it was also useful and good. Everybody hitting TLDRs are unironically Grok brand. You have to stop. Electrifying your grid. Electrifying your energy grid with renewable energy offers, especially for China, absolute energy independence. Okay? And it's the same for other countries as well, because if China can present itself as a force of stability internationally, which it, does a pretty decent job, especially nowadays, then people are going to be more reliant on the Chinese monopoly on photovoltaics, on solar panels, on renewable energy investments. Because at the end of the day, that's an infinitely more reliable way to develop sovereignty, because guess what? The sun is everywhere. Okay? The sun is everywhere. Unless you're in the Nordic countries, I guess. But even then, you have the sun. You can't block out the sun. Best of luck in Cuba. I wish I could join the flotilla. What are you talking about? I'm back from Cuba. This is a big threat to America because it's so funny. People are like, well, what about the clouds? This all got super explicit in the next 5-year plan from 2025 to 2021 to 2025. Chapter 53, Strengthening Safeguards for Our Nation's Economic Security, had a section 2 called Energy and Resource Security Strategy, which mentions of ensuring secure supply, oil and gas self-reliance, enhancing strategic reserves, using coal as the foundation, and framing power system reliability as a political priority. There's also that aspect too. Like they could just fucking turn on the coal power plants, as some of these countries are now doing. Once again, they're reactivating. I think it was Thailand that reactivated its old coal power plants because you have to keep your energy grid up, and if you can't get LNG, then you'll do coal. Also, solar is not the only source of renewable energy. True. This was, of course, further underlined by the power shortages in 2021, followed by the global energy crisis in 2022 with the Russia-Ukraine war. The China energy system that exists in the moment in 2026 is the product of this 14th 5-year plan. And 2022 didn't happen the way that it, and 2022 didn't happen the way they did. China probably would still be in decent shape today, but they did happen, and the lessons were learned, and the overall system is that much more robust for it. And then when we have the newest, I keep wanting to say For You page, 5-year plan, the 15th one from 2026 to 2030, which we are still analyzing and awaiting more details on, but within which I'd say energy security continues to be a defining theme of the energy strategy sections. The broad story I'm reading now from the 15th For You page is electricity is the primary instrument of energy security, with renewables, nuclear, storage, grids, and electrification seen as tools to offset imports, absorb shocks, and preserve industrial competitiveness. Coal is explicitly retained as the strategic energy reserve and flexibility source of choice, not gas or petroleum. Energy security, industrial policy, and geopolitical risk management are fully merged into one unified political and economic paradigm. So yeah, China didn't just stumble into a position of resilience for the current Iran war and Hormuz energy shock. It's been building up to it and sharing its strategy guide strategy quite publicly, mind you, for the last 12 plus years, essentially all of Xi's tenure. If you want to fucking grok TLDR, China's 5-year plans have hyper-focused on energy independence through electrification of its grids. Okay? And not only are they doing this for themselves, they're basically revealing it in broad daylight to anyone else that will pay attention to it. Don't forget that PV and solar was once a literal German monopoly that got killed by conservatives in 2014 to keep us dependent on the petrodollar. Early 2000s Green Party economic strategy was kind of like China with long-term planning to create new markets, but conservatives willingly killed 150,000 jobs to stop it. There were numerous points, including the Green New Deal, where America could also have turned around its manufacturing lull. But of course, our oil behemoth was so overwhelmingly powerful because in China, the government controls the forces of capital, the flows of capital specifically. In the United States of America, capital controls the government. So if you actually allow capital to control the government, you say, fuck Green New Deal. You have a sophisticated network of propaganda that will be disseminated to the supposedly democratic system, democracy in theory, not in action, and people will develop negative opinions about it. Of course, no real democracy actually exists when it comes to the way that the government designs its foreign policy, the way the government even designs its own domestic policy that is at odds with the interests of capital and the interests of profit sectors, profit centers, specifically in the form of healthcare, for example. We can't destroy the healthcare system that is completely fucking privatized. Because if we were to do that, then, our GDP would take a hit. These are major GDP providers. The line goes up. That's precisely the reason why we have such bloat in every sector. Okay? They could have done the same thing China did and still done warmongering just from a better position. Just say, oh, well, I don't care about the straight, flip the green switch. No, America doesn't care about the straight regardless. America and Americans in power will currently say, we don't give a fuck about the straight. And Trump says it all the time, as a matter of fact. It's not wrong. It's true. America is an exporter. So the straight being closed off unironically suits the short-term purpose and short-term goals of our energy sector, right? The reason why the Strait is important is because it destroys the global economy, the Asian market specifically, where, a lot of our products are being manufactured, both in China and India and Vietnam and elsewhere. So technically, it's not as impactful for the American energy markets at all, even though, obviously, it's entirely dependent on whether or not the losses that the American energy providers are taking in the Gulf, because obviously these are their investments that are getting blown up, can be offset by, the price of the fucking barrel skyrocketing. Especially when there's a new, untapped, massive trove, the largest known natural reserves of heavy crude on the planet in Venezuela. One doesn't work without the other. This is what I've been thinking about for the last month or so, the last 25 days. I've brought it up periodically. I do think that, this is my only, this bullshit. It undermines the petrodollar, which is where the bulk of wealth and power is based. The closing of the Strait absolutely ruins America because the U.S. economy is directly tied to oil. Yes. But here's what I said. Prior to the Iran war, Venezuelan crude refined and exported by the U.S. would destroy the domestic markets since the price would dip far below $60. If the Gulf productive capabilities are diminished, the U.S. could become one of the few major exporters and command great leverage over China's export controls. This seems like the only not insane long-term goal. Not sure it's even remotely feasible or achievable. So while American oil giants that have tremendous investment in Saudi Aramco and tremendous investments in the Gulf are actually taking a beating right now because their investments are blowing up or potentially slated to blow up, okay, if they light the region on fire, will they be able to offset that with their new investments and the new refinements that they can engage in Venezuela with far greater control? Because at the end of the day, Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states are still sovereign to a certain degree. They're vassalized, but they're nowhere near as vassalized as Venezuela will be.
Called for a ceasefire and a return to diplomacy, while trying to leverage Beijing's strong ties to Iran to secure safe passage for its tankers through the Strait.
Gas prices go up in America since oil prices based on international market value regardless of U.S. surplus. Only ones that benefit are the producers because they can sell for more. I mean, that doesn't need to be the case, obviously. The American government could, impose price controls. They just won't do that because that's not what the American government does, right? And also, this second part that you just mentioned, the only ones that benefit are the producers because they can sell for more. Yeah, that is what the American government does. The American government doesn't operate at your behest. The American government doesn't operate for your benefit. I mean, this is kind of the whole point of why I criticize capitalism. Okay? They don't care about your needs. I mean, at most, it's a pressure that they will seek to alleviate, right? Because if the gas prices at the pump are so high, because it's tied to the global energy prices, if the gas prices at the pump are so unimaginably high, then yes, inflation crisis takes place. Cost of goods goes up. Americans are frustrated. They can't buy things, right? And inevitably, the economy falls apart and they revolt, right? So there is that pressure that they have to pay attention to. But if their goal is to, outside of that, I mean, they make this calculation on how much dick you can eat, basically. How much dick you can eat while the only people that care about are capital owners, specifically in the oil and gas industry, the American oil and gas industry, and what their profit margins look like. It's possible that Venezuela's oil reserves are overstated as well. The numbers have all come from PDVSA itself, and people have been skeptical for a while now. I mean, I'm sure they have a better understanding of that. The American government does. These are the types of things you can't fuck around with. We're talking about money. If you want to continue with the China topic, Bloomberg covered China's super grid. What the fuck? Can I ask, why did you start saying about the Venezuela oil idea for short-term gain recently in the past 2 weeks and not instantly in the Venezuela kidnapping? I did. I actually criticized the Economist and all of the other analysts that were like, oh, we don't even benefit from Venezuela's massive natural reserves because if we were overproducing oil, it would destroy the American small business frackers and it would destroy the Texas economy. It would destroy the American oil and gas industry because it would be too cheap. Oh, that's why you timestamped it. Okay, got it.
China watchers.
If you recall, I told you that that's still bullshit. No one is ever going to say no to more natural reserves. And now we're seeing kind of why. What level of damage to America would it take for you to consider moving to China? I mean, I like China, but I like China, but it's not about the level of damage that America could withstand. It's more so about like me going straight up to prison, That's how the fuck do you like China, dude? I don't know, because I'm agnostic and I don't maintain like idiotic, childlike attitudes about like nation states in the way that you do. Like I've been pretty open about this, where like I have my loyalty to the people, okay, everywhere around the world. Yeah, man, but do you know the history of China? I'm willing to bet a lot better than you do, my friend. The one who once spoke of regime change and the fragmentation of Iran now hopes that someone in Iran will engage in dialogue with him. Though this, too, is merely an attempt at deception. Like they killed babies to stop overpopulation. Name every Chinese period. You don't want to live in China because they didn't allow you to hug panda? That's true. That was a big blow to my confidence in China. Are you pro or anti-Israel Epstein? Pro-Israel Epstein, my goat. The good Israel Epstein. Member of the CPC. Israel's Channel 12 has now leaked what it claims is a U.S. 15-point document to end the war with Iran. Okay? We're getting back to situation monitoring. The reported mechanism is a 1-month ceasefire during which there will be negotiations over these terms. That alone is likely a non-starter for Tehran. Iran has been clear that it does not want another temporary pause that allows the U.S. and Israel to rearm. We'll look at the details in a second. Rebuild and return to the fight, as has already happened before. Are you averse to Europe because of Islamophobia? Buddy, if I'm moving away from America, why would I go to a vassal, an American vassal? If I'm escaping America in the unlikely scenario that I'm like going to fucking prison or something, like where fascism is completely taken over and it's like, it's accelerating. Why the fuck would I go to the country that's like a fleshlight for the United States of America? We fuck Europe. Okay? Yeah, let me go flee to a vassal so I can get destroyed. Same with Australia. Iran has been clear that it does not want another temporary pause that allows the U.S. and Israel to rearm, rebuild, and return to the fight. As has already happened before, it is seeking a permanent settlement that allows it come out of economic isolation. Then there are the terms themselves. Much of this reads like a familiar maximalist wish list. No enrichment on Iranian soil, dismantling core nuclear infrastructure, abandoning regional alliance network. In other words, demands that Iran has consistently rejected before the war, and likely even more so now, given the leverage it believes it has gained. At the same time, there is a notable U.S. offer, the reported offer of full sanctions relief, including the removal of snapback threats. That suggests Washington may be signaling openness to a broader strategic trade-off. Oh my God. So there may be an outline of something workable here. But as an opening bid, much of this still looks fundamentally misaligned with what Iran would accept, and therefore unlikely to get serious traction in Tehran without significant revision. Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, if this isn't simply holding space and time as America, draws up what remains of its sources, what remains of its forces, and continues to build up military troop presence so they can try and idiotically invade Iranian soil, with no real logistical plan to do so, mind you. This is literally a bigger relief for the Iranian economy than what the Obama deal could have ever accomplished. This would mean that we treat Iran as a sovereign nation state, as an equal partner in the global oil trade. I mean, that's crazy. Biggest fell-off award for the anti-IR diaspora. Islamic Republic stays in place, led by the RGC, and the sanctions are taken away, but they'll still love Trump law. I mean, this is unironically something that is necessary, and Iran sacrificed a great deal to accomplish this, but they accomplished it through war, a war that they did not choose to have, but a war that they seemingly will end. I just don't think that Israel would ever allow this to happen. You know? Removal of all sanctions on Iran, U.S. assistance in advancing and developing a civilian nuclear project, energy generation, removal of the threat of sanctions being reimposed. Iran's nuclear program is frozen under a defined framework, enriched uranium to remain, but under supervision and agreed limits. Missile program to be addressed at a later stage with limits. See, like this is, oh my God, they're doing the, oh my God, this is literally, this is a white flag, dude. You know how Iran has the red flag, the death flag that they used to wave? And then they would do like a very restrained retaliatory strike that they agreed to ahead of time. This is literally Zelensky saying we'll have a referendum on Crimea 15 years down the line. Oh my fucking God. Use of nuclear programs restricted to civilian defensive purposes only. Development of existing nuclear capabilities halted. No further expansion of enrichment capabilities. No production of weapons-grade nuclear material on Iranian soil. All enriched material to be handed over to the International Atomic Energy Agency within an agreed timeline. Natanz, Isfahan, and Fordow to be taken out of use, destroyed. International monitoring and verification mechanisms enforced. Gradual implementation tied to compliance. Additional regional security understandings between the parties. Dude. Are you implying Trump broke something and is going to put back together in a worse way and will inevitably say, look, I solved another war? From an American chauvinist perspective, yes. But from a global perspective, this is a tremendous thing. Okay? I've been very clear on this. I have said this over and over again. Okay? Sanctions relief was a must. How close to JCPOA is this? This is literally worse than the JCPOA for American. From the, I mean, if this happens at all, and if this isn't just like a silly little fake out, and Israel will never allow this to happen regardless, but this is literally worse than the JCPOA. This is, from the American perspective, JCPOA did not offer this much. I guess one of the major differences would be, one of the major differences here would be this is a better deal than what Iran was offered pre-war, which did not include sanctions relief. The Iranians are still going to say no. They would accept dismantling of their nuclear program for sanctions relief, but not an end to support the proxies or the missiles program, which is precisely the reason why even the missiles program, for the record, that was a key part of this, is not even being discussed now. They're just saying we'll do a framework for a deal in the future. Like, if we were to take this sincerely, okay, if we were to look at this as like a sincere, if this was like America genuinely saying, here, let's do this, please. This is nothing short of America coming on its hands and knees. Donald Trump literally getting on his hands and knees and begging Iran. Begging Iran. Holy fuck. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? I don't really see how Iran can win this war if it doesn't get sanctions relief, and I don't really see how it can get sanctions relief if it doesn't concede on at least 2 or 3 nuclear proxies missiles. There's obviously the whole if they survive, they win thing. But like, of course, some people will call this copium or whatever. We can quibble about definitions, but I'm not sure how Saddam 91 was considered a win for Saddam. Iranian people's quality of life matters, considering the Iranian state is responsible for them and them only, is a genuine question people should answer. This shit isn't a pissing contest. There actually needs to be a theory of victory that ends with a higher quality of life for Iranians. Otherwise, we get protests and Israeli lawn mowing again a few months down the road. The initial U.S. offer is similar to what you imagine. Sanctions relief in exchange for cutting off the proxies, limiting the missiles, and ending the nuclear program. No, I think that's a more conservative read on this than what the deal is actually saying. What this deal is literally like the JCPOA, but worse for America. Okay? Bro, they're just proposing this on the chance that Iran rejects it. They'll accuse them of being the warmonger. It doesn't matter. This is not... Iran holds all the cards. It's unbelievable, dude. It's fucking unbelievable. I cannot believe it. This, like... Because remember, Iran's conditions were set ahead of time. America retreating from the region. Okay, no more military bases. America decoupling from Israel, which, by the way, that's a given if there's any deal making to be, if there's any deal making to take place. So much so that this was something that I think a lot of people didn't pay attention to, but Iran wanted to cut out Israel from the conversation so much that they literally said no to Russia negotiating with the United States. Many of you still are operating under the weird belief that Russia is actually an anti-Zionist country, not realizing that Vladimir Putin is a massive Zionist. Iran literally told Russia to fuck off. And their statement was, because Russia was like, "Oh, we'll deal with Iran. Like, we'll get to the table. We'll create we'll create a negotiations plan for Iran." And Iran literally said, "No, we don't want Israel to be involved." That's very important. They didn't just say no to Russia, we want to do it our way with sovereignty and dignity. They said no to Russia, we don't want Israel's involvement in this. As in they understand Russian partners to not be on the Iranian side, but on the Israeli side. Okay? Isn't like Russia agnostic about Israel? No. Absolutely not. So, Russian is the third most spoken language in Israel. It's Hebrew, Arabic, and then Russian. Vladimir Putin has literally said that he sees Israel as another Russian country, okay? Numerous people from the USSR, both during the USSR and also certainly after the dissolution of the USSR, moved to Israel. Again, I'm going to repeat it one more time. Russian is the third most spoken language in the state of Israel, the fake state of Israel. Okay? Numerous Russian oligarchs use Israeli passports as an entry point into the global markets. While the USSR itself was formative in the development of the Zionist entity, arming the Zionist brigades, thinking that the nation that would form after would be one that would be Soviet aligned, they very quickly realized that that wasn't the case. But Vladimir Putin has always been super, super pro-Israel. Israel is in its hoe phase. Worth saying that it's not just people pretending for financial gain. There are a ton of Jews in the former Soviet Union, the Pale of the Settlement. Plus, the Soviets were able to evacuate more Jews than, say, Poland. Yeah, but it's not even about Judaism, especially considering that many of the Israeli Russians are not even Jews. And I mean literally, like, not even through like matrilineal. They have no heritage to Judaism, no ethnic trace of Judaism whatsoever. They're just Israeli citizens now. This was done in the aftermath of the dissolution of the USSR, specifically to increase the Ashkenazi, or the white population in Israel as well. It was a mutually beneficial relationship, if you want to think about it like that. Anyway. So thrilled with Syria. I mean, there's a lot of like, Russia still has regional ambitions, and Russia still is anti-America, right, as it stands. So obviously the initiatives in Syria were a part of Russia's ambitions. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that like Russia and Israel were duking it out in Syria in the way that many people claim they were. I would say that Hezbollah and Iranian forces were certainly duking it out in Syria against Western interests. And to a certain degree, Russia was aiding. Obviously, virtually the entirety of the Syrian anti-air defense systems were Russian, but there were many restrictions against Israeli fighter jets, for example, restrictions imposed by Russia on the Syrian military, in the same exact way that, for example, America imposes restrictions on Ukraine and their offensive capabilities with the weapons that we have given to Ukraine. You know, not allowing them to strike on Russian soil, things of that nature. What is this? Americans having bad take while in the comfort of their own homes. This specific one lives in the home that's infested with cockroaches and mice. Honestly, even with interceptions over my head, I'm living in a better environment. That's funny. Like, imagine having between all the people alive who haven't killed anyone, Asmongold is probably one of the worst. Like, imagine having a house filled with literal trash and thinking you're better than Muslims.
It's good like a
What is this fucking take? Okay, we'll look at the Asmongold take in a second. We haven't looked at any Asmongold takes in a minute. Now Witkoff is texting Word docs to them, hoping they'll respond. This is so embarrassing. The United States has sent a 15-point plan to end the war in the Middle East, according to two officials briefed on diplomacy. It was unclear how widely shared among Iranian officials and whether Iran was likely to accept it as a basis for negotiations. Dude, this is so desperate. Dude, this is so fucking desperate. Oh my Lord. Like, even if this is a trick that America is trying to start the negotiations process or whatever, so they can like keep increasing troop presence in the region, so they can like eventually do the unthinkable, devastating version, the worst version of events, which is where American troops get fucking slaughtered by Iranian rockets and whatnot in the Iranian mountainside. But this is literally reminding me of Xi, call me Xi, please call me. This is basically Trump doing this.
Not war, not war, not war. Just peace, just peace, just peace.
No guerra. Oh my God, this is fucking awesome. What is your thought on USA using more dollars in Iran in a few days than they have supported Ukraine in the last few years? Yeah, because Israel is the only country that matters. Why is it embarrassing? How would you have reached out to them? Oh, God, these guys are so fucking stupid. America literally funded like every side of the Syrian civil war at different points. How is it confusing to people that the other countries also had malleable or dubious allegiances during that specific conflict? Yeah, with the exception of Iran. Iran and the axis of resistance against Israel and America is not designed out of like, territorial acquisition ambitions. It's designed out of necessity. Okay? So they don't get to have shaky allegiances because they're literally just there to push back against American intervention, American forces. Mama, as if Russians funded the Free Syrian movement, they backed Assad fully. Was it not for Russia, Assad would have fallen way earlier. Oh my fucking God, here we go. The Z pushers are in here once again. Yo, okay, yes, you're right. Vladimir Putin, when he's shaking hands with Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that Israel is one of the most important allies that we have, all of that is all fake. Remember when Jackson Hinkle would talk about how Benjamin Netanyahu and Vladimir Putin are going to create a multipolarity? That they're going to create a multipolar world together against the petrodollar. That's what they were saying. I remember. Yeah. Wild time. Your Russia takes will age badly law? Okay. I think my analysis of what Russia is doing, regardless of their genuine interest in being an anti-imperialist force or not, doesn't matter. Like my analysis on what Russia's doing, the bloodshed it has caused, or at least like the war it's waged against like Western imperialism in general, whether they are anti-imperialist or not, doesn't fucking matter. I understand why, as I repeatedly say, I understand why the third world's position on Russia is very different. People in the Haas Reddit yelled at me for saying Russia and Israel have good relations and won't go to war. Actual blind spot for many people. Yes. I don't know, dude. Your analysis for the past forever has been Ukraine give up. Wow, really interesting. I don't know if you noticed, but Ukraine is eventually going to give up. Like, yes, my initial prediction that Vladimir Putin would never invade Ukraine was wrong. It's a wrong prediction. The analysis was still obviously correct. So much so that look at the situation now. Every single thing that I said, including the initial ceasefire agreement when Ukraine had the maximum leverage, should have been taken. The off-ramp, the Minsk agreements should have been taken. These are no longer controversial opinions. At the time, people said, oh, you're fucking Vladimir Putin defender. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Right? Now, that's the universal position. Hindsight 2020. It's not even hindsight. It was foresight at the time, it turns out. Things that people consider hindsight was fucking foresight. Chevron warns California risks fuel crisis unless Iran war ends. How many motherfuckers yelled at me and said I'm pro Vladimir Putin? You're way too supportive of shitty peace deal. Yeah, things got a lot better. Things got a lot better since then, right? That shitty peace deal would have been a massive W in comparison to the battle lines currently. I hear this all the time. Russia can't withstand the war. Their economy's crashing and Ukraine takes out the Russian infrastructure. Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe that there's this, like, still to this fucking day, Ukraine is winning. Study up. Yeah, I saw they pushed back on some Russian positions. They got, like, you know, a little bit of territory back. Fun fact, Quincy Institute is still smeared as a pro-Russia by some in D.C. for criticizing Biden's refusal to engage diplomatically with Russia to end this war. It turns out pushing diplomacy while correctly predicting the downsides of interventionist policy hurts your credibility in D.C. Good stuff. Quincy Institute experts in March 2022, it's highly unlikely that a protracted war will bring Ukraine significantly better terms. Both sides are going to have to accept painful compromises, all of which will become even more difficult to achieve if the conflict is allowed to continue. Ukraine was able to actually catch Russia by surprise. Russia greatly underestimated Ukrainian defenses, and Ukraine was able to successfully purge the Russian forces from Kiev, okay, where they withdrew back to the eastern flank. That was the highest leverage that Ukraine had. Since that moment, Ukraine has lost leverage over and over again, piece by piece, every single day. And now Ukraine is facing, in the current iteration of ceasefire negotiations, Ukraine is facing permanent annexation of Ukrainian territories. Like legal annexation, which is illegal, obviously, but like legal recognition of annexed territories. That's what the current plan is. I don't think you understand how sore the Ukraine conflict is for Europeans is the same amount of sore you feel about Israel-Palestine. Oh my fucking Lord, dude. Yeah, why aren't you pressing the Ukraine win button? Yeah, just like I'm not pressing the communism button, I'm also refusing to press the Ukraine is going to win button. Yeah, it feels like every single criticism anybody makes of your Russia takes ultimately comes down to you're not giving me as much pro-Ukraine hopium as I want, therefore you must be pro-Russia. Have you ever seen a more reasonable critique? No, I have not. Also, saying that the Russian economy is crumbling right now when the strikes on Iran has literally given Russia virtually, like, we gave Russia sanctions relief. What are you talking about? The price of the oil barrel goes up. And who benefits from that? Russia benefits from that. What the fuck? They don't rely on the Strait of Hormuz. You guys are fucking delusional. I'm begging you to watch the part where Pete puts his hand on the imaginary throttle and says, as long as hard as is necessary, in which Trump raises eyebrows.
As viciously as possible from moment one. And that's why we see ourselves as part of this negotiation as well. We negotiate with bombs. You have a choice as we loiter over the top of Tehran, as the president talked about your future. The president has made it clear that you will not have a nuclear weapon. The War Department agrees. Our job is to ensure that. And so we're keeping our hand on that throttle as long as hard as is necessary to ensure the interests of the United States of America are achieved on that battlefield. This as viciously as possible from moment one. That throttle. As long as hard as is necessary to ensure.
Oh, Trump saw that. Trump saw that hand gesture and went, oh, interesting. Beş. Beşte babacığım. Bir. Eyvallah. Lol, you missed it? If the United States makes a negotiated agreement with Iran, that the likely outcome will be obtaining detailed mapping and intelligence on its nuclear facilities via inspections, followed by revocation of the deal and reimposition of sanctions within a few years under a new administration and targeted attacks based on the intelligence gained during the inspection period. If this sounds overly cynical, it's exactly what happened last time. Yup. It might not even have to there might not even be leadership change for them to do this. For the record. It's nice to see the two most deceptive negotiators on earth being treated with the skepticism that they deserve. Yeah. The one who once spoke of regime change and the fragmentation of Iran now hopes that someone in Iran will engage in dialogue with him, though this, too, is merely an attempt at deception. Iranians are not biting on this, for the record. They're not biting on this at all. And they have no reason to, because they very clearly have the leverage. I'm sorry, but we are now the table, and thus now Turkey. Karachi is the Istanbul of Pakistan. No! This is true. Islamabad, New York City, the Islamabad of America. It's no longer Islamabad. It's Islamagud.
Bruh.
It's true. Turkey is no longer the table. That's what you get, Pakistan, for developing nukes at a time when people thought you wouldn't be able to. Okay? And then you did, and now you're the table. Even though, weirdly enough, you're also just like dominated by the CIA. I don't understand. Pakistan is the strangest country in the region. Like, literally, half owned by America, half owned by China. I don't even understand how that works. They've just pieced up the country. Has nuclear arms. Fantastic. And it's even funnier when you learn how Pakistan got nukes. I mean, yeah, that story is incredible. It's just literally one guy who memorized. One guy who memorized from the Netherlands. It was like, I'm going to give my life for Pakistan. Pakistan for the win. #1 country in the world. Yeah, Pakistan Zindabad. And he went into the fucking mountains and was like, I'm going to build nukes. Incredible. They harassed Qadir Khan for years till his death.
My pledge is that I will be pilot and I will help everyone. Pilot.
Yeah, he's a pilot. Great. You see, this is the spirit. We love Pakistan.
My pledge to my country is that when I will grow up, I will be the scientist like Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan, who helped Pakistan making the nuclear power.
Inshallah, we have a bright future. We have here students who are going to make Pakistan a great nuclear nation.
When I will grow up, I will be army and save Pakistan.
Why do you always do this? Why? What do you mean? What do you mean? I have to fight back. I had to fight back. I had to knock Pakistan down a few pegs. Okay, except this video is not bad. It's one of the best videos of all time. Pakistan is now at the table, and it perhaps is the table. Okay, you took that away from my people.
Pakistan and destroy India.
Strong army, wow, great.
Where are your nukes, Turk boy? In the Incirlik base. They're American nukes. But nukes still very much are inside of Turkey, let's be real. They're just American nukes. If America attacks Pakistan, we'll nuke India.
अगर अमेरिका ने पाकिस्तान पे कोई हमला कर दिया हमारे तो अगर हमारे न्यूक्लियर रेंज में नहीं भी अमेरिका लेट्स से अगर हम खलीजी ममालिक में जो है उनके
That's awesome. That's crazy. Anyway, I can't believe it. Asmin Goy at Asmin Gold suggests that Trump would look like an R word if the result of the U.S. war against Iran was simply the RGC being replaced by the RGC. If we wasted billions of dollars, tanked the stock market, increased the price of oil, got people killed, all to replace the RGC with the RGC. hey, notice how he went from this war is so base, it's the most based war of all time, to finally, finally realizing 25 days later, maybe this war wasn't the best time.
And I think that, as I said, if we wasted billions of dollars, tanked the stock market, increased the price of oil, got people killed, all to replace the IRGC with the IRGC, this will be a colossal waste of everything.
Wait a minute. What? Who could have foreseen this? I mean, you don't even need to be, I'll be honest with you, okay? I studied this, okay? This is what I studied. This is literally my field of study, and I have 10 plus years of experience in commentary, specifically on American foreign policy and the entanglements that we get into and how it's not beneficial for the Americans. But you don't need to have that pedigree to look at the situation that was unfolding and not realize that this is going to be devastating. Like, it's so fucking stupid. If he was a better grifter, he would have leaned into what Nick Fuentes was saying ahead of time, who clearly is a much smarter, much more intelligent person than this fucking roach is. But because he's just so lazy that everything he sees is like bot accounts, because everything he sees is bot accounts on Twitter, and he just like repeats the dumbest fucking bot accounts. He's like, oh, this would be so dumb. Oh, this would be so dumb if like the situation that's currently unfolding is unfolding.
Will be dumb, a complete fucking... He's going to look like an idiot. He's going to look like a retard every time. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I wonder who the biggest R word is in that situation. The guy who very clearly is like engaging in this panicked action that has done all those things, like destroy the global energy market, stuff like that. Or the fucking dumbass who constantly repeats those takes as though they're fucking based. Who's the dumbass here? Donald Trump or the guy who goes, yeah, based. This guy is so based over and over again.
Morning sometime.
Giant fuck up. Yeah, total failure.
Yeah. Let's see what Asmongold was saying last week.
Wars are not our wars. True. We need to be radically, tremendously happy this has happened. I was a big supporter of us bombing them before, and now we're bombing them again, and this is just amazing.
This is an operation against the world's largest sponsor of terror.
That's right. This is amazing. Every third world shithole that promotes these terrorist ideologies, death cult fucking religion, is getting demolished. Oh, a school got bombed? It's collateral damage in a war, and it's inevitable, number one. And number two, if they didn't want that to happen, maybe they shouldn't have been funding terror groups and antagonizing a world superpower like America. Man, how about that?
You had dumbass on Twitter doubting your degree. What is this? He doesn't have a degree in international relations. He has a degree in poli-sci and communications. Not the same thing, Hassan. Wait, what? What the fuck does this person think international relations is under? I mean, some schools it might be separate, but for most schools, it's under poli-sci. Oh my God. What a fucking confident moron this is. Yeah, 1/3 of the required class to graduate with a poli-sci at Rutgers, with a poli-sci degree at Rutgers, include foreign and international politics. There's no way you aren't a Fed, Lamau. That's not a degree in international relations. That's not the point. An undergrad degree just gives you a base. It's the 10 years of experience reading and talking about it on top of that makes this area of expertise. Whoa. Little F. M is real high. M is real high. M is real high. Chat, freak out right now. Freak out right now. Chat, freak the fuck out right now, chat. It's over. It's over. Stream is done. Everybody freak the fuck out. Hopefully it's not. You know, I already got my bases covered. I said M is real high. Bro, they grilling his ass to hell. What is this? Maybe they shouldn't have been funding terror groups and antagonizing America, Israel. What the hell did you expect? I don't even think he knows what this is. I don't think he understands what it means when America's latest weapon of air superiority is destroyed in a combat operation. Like, the air superiority has been completely fucking undermined in its like first major flight mission over a sovereign state. They're pocket watching your degree, but why aren't they watching Asman's degree? What does he have a degree in? Smelling bad? The fuck? Anyway. Is that an F-35 or an F-15? No, that's an F-35, my friend. An F-35 getting destroyed by an S-400 or an HQ-9 is somewhat acceptable, but losing it to a fucking Timu optical seeking SAM is disgusting? No. That would also be fucking horrible for the F-35. It's literally designed to avoid being tracked by these existing weapon systems. I mean, yeah, this is even worse, but still. All right, don't worry, guys. F-47 incoming. Okay, we got new tech. It'll be another $1 trillion. It'll be another $1 trillion. Asman literally said he thinks the F-35 being shot down is fake news. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, you just kind of have to live in the fake bizarro world all the time. F-47, named after me, the 47th president. Oops, America was all lies, law, making me believe the moon landing was fake. It was a well-known weakness. Literally, we're scheduled for upgrades to patch it, but par for course, they won't be arriving till 2032. Yeah, CENTCOM confirmed it was hit, by the way. So that's how you know it's unfucking deniable. F-35s get really stressed when you track them. It's not funny. True. I heard it wasn't hit. It was just a laundry room on the F-35 that caught fire. Oof. I've heard it's a loitering air defense that uses heat-seeking instead of radar. The air defense is something between missile and a Shahed drone. Yeah, but even the heat-seeking, like, isn't the F-35 also designed against like heat-seeking capabilities too? I mean, obviously it's more difficult, but like it's literally supposed to be like radar invisible. To paint not the thrusters, not at all, is an extremely hot jet. It was shot with one of those t-shirt cannons at sports events. It's pretty funny seeing the same Reddit liberals who criticized Hassan for saying he'd vote third party over Newsom now saying they're not going to vote for Newsom because of his Israel walkback. Right again, just too early. What are you going to do, man? I will say one of the greatest parts about like the chaotic media cycle that we're engaging in now, where like things unfold at a rapid pace, like way faster than ever before, is that vindication comes a lot faster. You don't have to sit around and wait for like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years for vindication to come. Oftentimes being a leftist is being right, but too early. But nowadays, even if you're right too early, your vindication comes fairly shortly after, right? Yeah, no shit. Big politicians are targeting Hassan Piker. More of them should be. God forbid a candidate actually work with new media, which the right has used to dominate us. Hassan has been consistently anti-war. Can the pundits on your acceptable news media say the same? Yep. Yeah, Hassan may be anti-war, but he's pro-violence and hardcore assassinations for people who simply say things he doesn't like. Like, what are these fucking fantasies, dude? Hell, yeah, nah, you lost me with this one. Piker's an unserious as right-wing podcast like Nick Fuentes should be treated as such. Just because someone is young and has a podcast doesn't mean the Dems have to kiss their ass. That's not the issue. The F-35 did not know it was being tracked at all. No evasive maneuvers at all. Yeah. A couple years, Ann Fogel explained the pro-war Iranian philosophy, psychology really well. Sometimes it's not naivete. It's just end it all now nihilism. Unfortunately, the modern American way of war won't give you sweet release. You'll starve or get tortured by militias. What is this? If the United States drop a nuclear warhead on each and every single city in Iran, it is far more preferable for Iranian people than living under a weakened Islamic Republic, which is now more brutal and wants to take revenge too. Being nuked takes less than a second to vaporize us, and that would be it. Living under Islamic Republic is years of torture and pain, imprisonment, and witnessing our beloved people and families being tortured, hung, and executed in public. Please nuke us if you want to put another Islamic Republic puppet there. At POTUS, at Netanyahu. This is why I said even the anti-Muslim Iranians are still spiritually Shia. Okay? Because on the one hand, you see the IRGC guy and the hardliners and the Ayatollah being like, I welcome death. I welcome death. I welcome death. Death is not, death is something I seek out. Please martyr me in the field of battle. This is what I'm looking forward to all the time. And then on the other side, you got the anti-regime guys who are literally also spiritually Shia, where even if they're like, oh, I hate Islam. Islam was a colonial conquest that took away, the Persian, the beautiful Persian Empire that we could have been, all the shit. And they're also still spiritually Shia. How is this anything different than I welcome death? Doesn't matter. Question, you support terrorism? Hassan Parker's response, I don't support the state of Israel and I don't support the state of the United States of America. This is why the face of progressive movement in the U.S., no wonder they keep losing. What do you think we're doing right now to Iran? Tickles? A tickle party? We're doing terrorism. Two plus years of live streamed child Holocaust, if not terrorism. State-inflicted terrorism. Anyway, most know exactly who we are as a nation, but these zero foresight idiots are someone else. I mean, this guy is literally an agent of Israel, so it doesn't matter. As an agent of Israel, lost the argument. and believe that Zionists having a normal one. During the 2025 Gaza ceasefire, Hazan sought to enter the enclave to interview 23-year-old journalist Hossam Shabbat. On March 18th, Israel broke the ceasefire and just days later murdered Shabbat, which appears to be what Ethan Klein is mocking here on the anniversary of his death. Yeah. Anyway. He isn't suing, but is part of a group of Hasbaris. No, this is not Eyal. This is, is this Eyal Yacobi? No, Eyal Yacobi is Eyal Yacobi is the UPenn grad. He is the Israeli agent in America. This guy didn't get paid by the state of Israel. Eylon Levy, former Israeli spokesperson Eylon Levy, left the state, but was still supposed to get paid by the state to do propaganda for the state and never got paid for it. I guess they're too busy paying Nas Daily instead of him to go and fucking stalk me all the way on the other side of the planet in Cuba. CNN, Iran tells U.S. it will not negotiate with Witkoff or Kushner, but only J.D. Vance. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. No, there is no shot. No, come on, dude. Please tell me these fucking Iranian boomers don't think J.D. Vance is actually anti-war. Jesus Christ, no shot. I believe it. I literally fucking believe it. I believe that they are such boomers that they legitimately see the reports of J.D. Vance like being noticeably absent from the conversation and think like, oh, he must be like actually anti-war. I hope they're just fucking trolling. God, the Ummah boomers, they literally, it takes nothing. It takes nothing for Muslim unks, Shia, Sunni, doesn't matter. It takes such little for a white man for them to go, oh my God, this guy will save us. I mean, clearly. It's just like, I don't think that's it. I think they're trying to pull an insubordinate power play. They know they have the upper hand. They're playing with their food now. I mean, I get why they would say no to Witkoff and Kushner. Witkoff and Kushner has directly fucked them over. There's a term for it in Israeli intelligence where someone is not like directly, I think it's called a helper, right? Murtaza Hussein wrote about this, where people like Witkoff and Kushner are seen as helpers, right? They're not directly under the payroll of the Israeli government, but, you know, they're sympathizers, right? Sayayim, I think so. This is unk on unk shit talking. Why are you believing CNN on this? It's true, I shouldn't. Iran are Democrat agents trying to torpedo Vance's presidential run. They're trying to exert their material sovereignty over the U.S. This will legitimize Vance in the eyes of the public, playing to both Trump and Vance's ego. New senior Iranian official Jalili accused the U.S. of deception amid talk of talks. Saeed Jalili, the supreme leader's representative to the Supreme National Security Council and a member of Iran's Expediency Discernment Council, criticized the U.S. calls for dialogue, saying Washington previously pushed for regime change and Iran's fragmentation. Bro, they activated the 82nd, and they're bringing 2 amphibious assault ships. These are the break glass and emergency forces. They're going to invade. That's what I think, too. I don't think they would be moving assets like this if they weren't invested in invading. I think they're stupid enough. I think they're literally, I think America and Israel, well, Israel will not be sending troops. Sorry. My mistake. For a second, I forgot. My mistake. America is going to be sending troops for Israel. Israel will not be sending troops. But America might be dumb enough to actually send troops to Iran and try to invade Iran militarily, which is incredibly fucking stupid. A bit anti-Semitic to send Israeli troops. True. My mistake. Iranian representatives have left the Trump administration know it does not want to negotiate with Witkoff and Kushner and would prefer to engage with Vice President J.D. Vance, according to 2 regional sources. Listen, all I'm going to say is this. Judging by what I know of these guys in the Iranian leadership, I can totally see them being boomer-brained and assuming that J.D. Vance's silence is seen as like genuine opposition to the American and Israeli initiatives, which it's not. He is just he's better at reading the room, but that doesn't mean that he's gonna like actually take a more favorable position. But who knows? I don't trust CNN sources on the Iranian side. I trust drop site sources on the Iranian side. Interesting timing for this. Effective April 20th, 2026, the U.S. Army is increasing the maximum enlistment age from 34 to 32 and eliminating waiver requirements for single conviction of possession of marijuana. Hell yeah. Now all those guys that were like putting on, those like fat veterans that were putting on their fucking old gear to be like, oh, I can fucking join the war, can go enjoy. Wait, 42. Wait, hold on. Wait. No. Oh, hold on now. Hold on now. But oh no. Okay, a chatter asked me earlier, what would it take for you to move to China? Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Me and my dad going to war, baby. Hope you like the lobster news, boy. Chat meetup in Tehran. Wait, Hassan, they're sending these people too? No, these guys are doing the domestic home front. They're fighting the real battle. Diabetes. Heart disease. You need to keep the troops positioned at home.